Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have gone well so far. We've got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. We've got more round 2 NBA playoff action going on tonight, and it's Freaky Friday, which means I got an extra special parlay to share with you guys. But first, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. So if you haven't already, it's real easy. Just hit that subscribe button down below and help us reach our goal of 100K just a little bit sooner. If you've been watching the videos so far this week, guys, you know this week we are taking some big swings with our parlays. All 3 videos so far I've done this week, the parlays have been like plus 1,200 or higher. And I told you guys yesterday, we're sticking with that theme all week long. So, sticking with that, we're taking another big swing today. We have a 6-leg, that's right, 6-leg Freaky Friday parlay, plus 1546 odds. That's not joshing you. Plus 1546 odds here. Really big swing for the fences. I don't know what it is this week. I got a need, and I gotta go with these big swings. I feel like Storm Chaser, like the movie Twister. I guess there's actually a sequel coming out soon, so it's appropriate. Where they're chasing tornadoes. That's how I feel right now. I'm chasing a big hit. I want a big hit. I want to hit one of these big motherfucking parlays. And today, I think we got a pretty good chance of doing that. And unlike yesterday's video, guys, I'm not going to take 4 minutes to get to the picks. We're jumping right into today's video, switching right into the Outlier screen. If you don't know what Outlier is, guys, they're the best sports betting tool on the market. As always, there is a special link in our description below that gives you a 7-day free trial. Outlier, they sponsor this video. They're one of the best sponsors that we have here on the channel. They really are. I say it all the time, even if they didn't sponsor me or they didn't sponsor the channel, I would still use Outlier. I would still recommend it to people. It really is the best sports betting tool on the market. If you watch my videos, you know how useful and how helpful it can really be, especially if you're just getting into it, if you're looking for help and how to bet. Outlier is there for you guys. Link in our description down below. 7-day free trial. You got nothing to lose. Try it for 7 days. You don't like it, you end it, and it doesn't cost you a thing. But if you stick with it, I guarantee you guys, you will see more profit in your future. All right, guys, first leg of our 6-leg Freaky Friday parlay. There will be some alternate lines in this parlay, just a warning. We're going Knicks Pacers, 7 p.m. tip-off. Obi Toppin over 8.5 points. We're getting it for minus 235 on DraftKings. And at first glance, the data is fantastic, and that is the important thing, is that you see a lot of green here. Obi Toppin has cashed us in 7 straight games, but it's not just 7 straight games, it's 7 straight playoff games. They had 5 consecutive games versus Milwaukee. The only game in that series he didn't hit was in game 1. He only had 4 points. But the rest of that series, he cashed the over every other game. And so far in this Knicks series, game 1 and 2, he has cashed the over. He's averaging 12.3 points per game over his last 10 games. Could you go a little higher to increase the odds? Yes, but we're playing it safe because you see a couple games there, 9 points. Like Obi Toppin could go a little on the lower side. So we're playing a little safe for a better chance of hitting here. And even when you stretch that data out, it still looks really well. 70% hit rate over his last 20 games, 14 of his last 20 games, averaging 12 points per game. In 2023 so far, a 60% hit rate, including playoffs, 55 out of 91 games, averaging 10.57 points per game this season, mostly for the Pacers. Obviously, he started, actually all for the Pacers, excuse me. And looking at the head-to-head data here versus the New York Knicks, since being traded off the Knicks to the Pacers, you see Obi Toppin has cashed in 5 consecutive matchups versus the Knicks. 12.4 points per game average against the New York Knicks. So we do have a bit of a revenge spot here. Again, that includes game 1 and game 2. You got a 100% hit rate versus his former team. A little extra motivation for him here to play out hard and to play well against his former team. He's done it so far. He had a really big game 2 with 20 points. I always say, we're not even needing him to score even half of that. 9 points gives us the cash here. So even if he scores less than half of what he did in game 2, we still have a hit on our hands. And the Knicks obviously are super banged up right now. No Randall, no Robbins. I mean, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel of their roster right now for guys to play. And so with that in mind, I do think Obi Toppin here is a pretty solid bet. All right, guys, second leg of our 6-leg parlay. We're going Jalen Brunson over 39.5 points plus assists. We faded him last game. And no, responding to some people in the comments, I wasn't rooting for an injury. I just was rooting for the under, and he happened to get hurt, which obviously cashed the under. I wasn't celebrating an injury. I wasn't rooting for an injury. I never root for injuries for players, but the injury obviously is one of the reasons why the under cashed. With that being said, obviously he is hurt. He's a game time decision, I believe. He's questionable for this game. I haven't had the best of luck betting on these injured guys. Yesterday, obviously, I took Jared Allen in the parlay. He didn't play, although it did actually. It's funny. It's really funny how these videos work. The props that people hate in the comments are the ones that hit. Yesterday, everyone hated that Al Horford prop. It was close, but he actually did hit his under there. And look, guys, I know he's banged up, but here's the thing. The Knicks got nobody. They've got nobody. They have no choice. He's going to have to play a shit ton of minutes, and he's going to have to take over everything. Look at this injury list. OG Anunoby, out. Bogdanovich, out. Charlie Brown, not really as big of a deal, out. Randall, out. Mitchell Robinson, out. Again, Dwayne Washington, not a big deal, out. A lot of big injuries here for the Knicks, and I know Brunson's a game-time decision with that right foot injury, but he's really all the Knicks have. I'm afraid. You know the Rocky 3 when he's on the beach with Adrian? I'm afraid, all right? I'm afraid. I'm a little afraid of this prop, okay? It is a little scary. Obviously, he's hurt. It's a really high line. It is alternate. I did buy it down a little bit to minus 175. It's scary with the injury, but if he plays, he's going to play by about 40 minutes. We know the Pacers defensively are not a great team. And in case you need more convincing of that, overall, they're bottom 3 in points allowed in the league. His assist numbers are going to be high. His points numbers are going to be high. I faded him last game, but you look at his last 10 games. He cashed this in 7 of his last 10. He had cashed it in 5 straight playoff games going into that game 2, and he was still pretty close. If not for him leaving the game for a little bit and getting hurt, he probably cashes the over in 6 straight games. I don't know how much you guys liked that Sylvester Stallone impression. I did the best I could. Oh, I'm afraid, all right? I'm afraid. I'm not really good with Sylvester Stallone impressions. But third leg of our 6-leg parlay, we're going Tyrese Halliburton over 7.5 assists. This is the highest alternate line here of this. By the way, shout out Rocky 3. I think it's my favorite Rocky movie. Sound off in the comments what you guys think about that take. I think it's my favorite Rocky movie of them all. I know the original is probably what most people would say, but I think Rocky 3, you got, spoiler alert, Mickey dies, really emotional. You got Clubber Lang. You got Thunder Lips? What is the Hulk Hogan's character? I mean, you got Rocky and Apollo training together. You got, I mean, it's everything that's fantastic about the Rocky movies combined into one awesome movie. It's not as slow paced as the first 2 films. It's not as goofy as the later ones. Rocky 3, best Rocky movie. Go ahead and sound off in the comments what you think about that take. But back to the parlay. Speaking of threes, third leg, we got Halliburton over 7.5 assists. Again, this is the highest alternate line I'll be taking here in the parlay, minus 295. He has cashed in 8 of his last 10 games, including both games of this series so far. And the more important thing is on the season, you see an 81% hit rate, including playoffs. 63 out of 78 games this year, he's cashed this over, averaging 10.72 assists per game. And you look at the head-to-head data here, again, including game 1 and 2 of this series. He's cashed this in 5 out of his last 7 games versus the Knicks, averaging 10.57. A little skewed because, again, you had that 23 assist performance back on December 30th. But this year, he's played them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times this year. 4 out of 6 games this season, he's cashed the over. So pretty good numbers here for Halliburton. Again, you go to the last 20 games, 80% hit rate, 16 of his last 20. We just need him to get 8 assists here. It's a pretty low line. You look at the potential assists over the last 20 games, 15.5 potential assists. He had 20 potential assists in game 2 and 15 potential assists in game 1. So the potential assists are there. Halliburton, obviously, Brunt's a little banged up, so hopefully that bodes well. I think 8 assists for Halliburton is a pretty solid bet. All right, guys, fourth leg of our 6-leg parlay. This is the biggest swing I'm taking within this parlay. Josh Hart over 18.5 points. That's right, plus 120 odds. Usually I don't do alternate lines in the plus direction. Plus money line here for Josh Hart. Listen. Jesus Christ, started choking on my own spit. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign for this parlay. So I don't really know. Hopefully it's a good sign. Literally, I'm choking because of how incredibly shocked I am that I'm taking a plus money play here. But Josh Hart over 18.5 points. Look, he's cashed it in both games this series so far. He had 24 points in game 1, 19 points in game 2. So far this playoffs, he's had some pretty big games. You see versus the Sixers, he cashed it a couple times. He's averaging 17.2 points per game over his last 10 games. You're going to see a lot of red because this line obviously is an alternate. It's heavily elevated. You see how much red is there for the most. Only had green of late. But it's kind of a perfect storm. And look, you could definitely take this at the regular line at 16.5 for like minus 130, you absolutely can. I'm going for 18.5. I'm taking a big swing. That's the theme of the week. I almost thought about going even higher to 19.5, but I don't want to get too crazy here. So we'll stick with the 18.5 points for Josh Hart. Look, it's a perfect storm in the sense that you have the third worst defensive team in the NBA versus shooting guards. They give almost 29 points per game to opposing shooting guards. Overall, again, we talked about it, the Pacers, bottom 3 defensive team in the NBA, giving up 120 points per game. That still remains true so far in these playoffs. You look at the scores of these games. The Knicks took the first 2 games of the series. They scored 121 points in Game 1 and 130 points in Game 2. So even in the playoffs, their defense remains pretty shitty. So you've got a solid defensive matchup. And again, I'll bring up the injury report again for the Knicks. So many guys out. No Anunoby, no Bogdanovich, no Randall, no Robinson. And Brunson, obviously, I mean, I obviously took him, so I'm hoping Brunson will still play well. But outside of that, Josh Hart's really, I guess DiVincenzo, but he hasn't been great this postseason. Josh Hart is what you have to rely on here. And so, with that being said, him scoring 19 points, he's going to have to score 19 points. It's a great matchup. I honestly, the more I'm talking about it, the more I want to go ahead and take like 20.5. But we'll play it semi-smart here. We'll go 18.5 points. I think Josh Hart has a pretty big game. I think he scores 20 plus. I think he scores in the realm of 20 to 25 points in this game. So we'll take the 18.5 for plus money. If you really are feeling risky, you can go a little higher to like 19.5, which is plus 165. But we'll stick with over 18.5 for plus 120. All right, guys, for the final 2 legs of the parlay, we're going to switch over to the Nuggets-Timberwolves game, 9:30 p.m. tip-off. Comment 12 down below if you made it this far into the video. I always appreciate you guys who watch all the way through. Again, as always, the link for the picks will be in our description below to go ahead and tail the parlay or just take some individual picks that you like. That Josh Hart prop plus money odds, you might as well just take that straight up because it's a pretty good prop. One more plug. Well, I got you guys paused here. I've been talking about it the last couple of videos. My charity golf tournament, the Kalimos Invite, 3rd annual golf tournament for charity. It's for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute on Sunday, May 26th. As always, like I've been saying, if you're in the Connecticut area and you would like to play, absolutely, you can register. It's $150 per person, $600 per foursome, $1,000 cash prize to the winning team. But obviously, I know a lot of you guys watching and listening, you guys aren't from Connecticut. So for those people, you can still help out. We are doing a 50-50 raffle. Again, half of that money goes to the winner, half that money goes to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute for the fight against cancer. The registration link is down below to go ahead and register for the 50-50 raffle. It's $10 a ticket. You guys have plenty of time. You have until May 26th, that Sunday Memorial Day weekend at 4 p.m. to buy your tickets. After that point, the link will close and the contest will be over. But guys, we're a sports betting website. We're a sports betting channel, whatever you want to call it. It's basically sports betting. $10 a ticket. You can buy as many tickets as you like. And again, if you win half the pot, which is growing and growing by the day. I see a lot of guys, regular viewers of the channel, who've already bought some tickets. I really do appreciate you guys. Plenty of tickets available, plenty of chances to win. So go ahead and do that. Again, the registration link is in down below. $10 a ticket. Buy as many tickets as you'd like. It only increases your chances of winning the pot. But all right, guys, 5th leg of our 6-leg parlay. We're going Jokic over 7.5 assists. Alternate line for minus 210 odds here. He has cashed this in 7 of his last 10 games. I'm really hoping for a big Jokic game. I've been wrong so far this series. He's kind of struggled so far. I'm hoping for a really big Jokic game in a must-win Game 3 for Denver. But even as poorly as he has played, he has cashed this over in both games in this series versus Minnesota so far, including in 6 consecutive playoff games dating back to the Lakers series. He's averaging 9 assists per game over his last 10 games. You look at the season, a 63% hit rate, including playoffs, averaging, again, 9 assists per game. 54 out of 86 games this year, he's cashed the over. And in the head-to-head data, you see in 8 of his last 14 games versus the Timberwolves, he has cashed this over, averaging 8.36 assists per game. You do see quite a bit of red there entering this playoff series. But, again, back against the wall, Jokic is going to have to play the Superman act. And I think he will do just that. He's going to play in the ballpark of 40 minutes tonight. You look at the potential assist numbers here. He's averaging 13.6 potential assists against the Timberwolves, including, you see Game 2, he had 15 potential assists, 12 potential assists in Game 1. So the potential assists are there. And you look at the last 10 game data. This is obviously their playoff series versus the Lakers and their playoff series versus Minnesota. Let's narrow it to last 5 because that also includes some of the end of regular season data. This is strictly playoff games, the end of the Lakers series and the start of the Minnesota series. You see the potential assists, 15.4 potential assists per game, and you see overall pretty solid. The lowest he had was in Game 1 versus Minnesota, 12 potential assists. So plenty of opportunities for Jokic here to grab some assists. And look at down low versus centers. They are middle of the road, give up just shy of 4 assists per game to opposing big guys. And the sixth and final leg of today's parlay, guys, we're going Aaron Gordon over 17.5 points plus rebounds. We're getting this from minus 145 on DraftKings. I am expecting a massive game for Denver in Game 3. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I've been wrong so far in this series, but the public's high on Minnesota. I think Denver has to bounce back here. They have to win this game to keep this series alive. I don't think they're getting swept. Denver is too good to get swept. They're going to show out here. I think Aaron Gordon stepping up will be key here. You see he has cashed this line in 6 of his last 10 games. He did cash this in Game 2. He had 20 points and 4 rebounds in Game 2, although Game 1 he did miss the mark. Overall, he's averaging 20 points plus rebounds per game over the last 10 games. You look at the season data for Aaron Gordon, 64% hit rate, 51 out of 80 games, including playoffs. He has cashed this over, averaging 20.48 points plus rebounds per game. And the head-to-head data is pretty strong, too. 10 of his last 14 games versus the Timberwolves, he has cashed this over, averaging 19.29 points plus rebounds per game, including you see a couple times this year. He's cashed over. The Timberwolves versus power forwards, obviously we know that they have the twin towers down low of Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, and Towns in particular has been playing really awesome defense of late. But Gordon did have a big game in Game 2. I expect him to have another decent game here in Game 3. We just need him to do a little bit less than, even if he does a little bit less than what he did in Game 2. Again, all he needs is 18 points plus rebounds. With Jokic, with those assist numbers, hopefully Jokic is dishing some of those assists to Gordon to help our prop. But risky, of course, is always risk when it comes to these bets, but I do like the spot here for Aaron Gordon. A 71% hit rate versus Minnesota over the last 14 games, so a pretty large sample size to go off of, and pretty solid data.